Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So before we dive into these topics, do me a favor if you end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We're starting here with a surprise announcement for a Helldivers 2 Killzone crossover, something that I think a lot of people were hoping to one day see, and now it's actually happening. Over on the official Helldivers 2X account, they say dispatch from Acquisition Center Superstore to celebrate your heroics in liberating the voteless from their tortured existence. We're bringing to the table our first official crossover, Helldivers X Killzone. And so they show here available in the Superstore an armor set, as well as a new primary weapon, a player banner, cape, and a player title. And so this is actually one of the coolest things that I think Helldivers has done so far. Not only is it their first crossover, but I think they're starting out very strong here. A lot of people, I think, felt like doing something Killzone related in the Helldivers 2 universe would make a lot of sense. I mean, it's a collaboration that it looks the part. But this is the first time we've seen Sony do anything with Killzone in a long time. And so naturally, it's kind of making Killzone fans begin to wonder if this is potentially the first sign of a revival of some sorts for the Killzone series. I'm going to say that's probably unlikely. But still, it is nice to see Sony acknowledging the Killzone IP in some shape or form here, and I don't think that I could blame any Killzone fan at this point in time after seeing this for having a little bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, Sony will end up doing a little bit more. We're going to move on to the next topic, though, which talks about Digital Foundry analyzing the upscaling technology that is being used by Guerrilla Games on the PS5 Pro. Being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle, they say tech experts over at Digital Foundry have extensively tested Guerrilla Games' Horizon series on the PS5 Pro and have been left impressed by the studio's upscaling technology. Guerrilla is using its own upscaler rather than PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution that a large number of PS5 Pro enhanced games are utilizing to mixed results. Horizon Forbidden West's PS5 Pro enhancements include clear visuals when running at 60 FPS and roughly 1440p. According to Digital Foundry, Guerrilla's own upscaler is on par with Nvidia's DLSS and AMD's FSR3 on PC. While DLSS handles particles better, testing shows that Guerrilla's upscaler is better than DLSS at handling reflections in water. Digital Foundry further claims that the studio's technology is also marginally better in terms of motion when compared to FSR. The results are even better for Guerrilla's tech. It's an impressive result for the homegrown solution, and its efficiency perhaps speaks to why Guerrilla opted against using Sony's PSSR for its PS5 Pro update, Digital Foundry concluded. As mentioned above, the implementation of PSSR has yielded mixed results in some games, with players reporting a large number of visual issues. Some of the affected games have since been patched to resolve problems, while others require using the workaround of switching to 120 FPS. So I thought that this was worth noting here because it is interesting that Guerrilla is using their own homegrown technology here, and what I wonder is, because it's so efficient and it's being praised pretty heavily here by Digital Foundry, if there's a chance that this technology could end up seeing wider use within PlayStation Studios and perhaps beyond. But as of right now, it is Guerrilla's proprietary upscaler, and I suspect for at least now it's going to just be exclusive to the Horizon games or any title that Guerrilla works on, but I will continue to keep you guys updated. Moving on to the next topic here, we have a long-awaited update on a PS5 console exclusive, that being Lost Soul Aside. So a new trailer featuring some new gameplay was released on the official PlayStation YouTube channel, and we did get a release year, and that's about it. But they are confirming that Lost Soul Aside is targeting a 2025 release. Now, they don't say whether or not it's going to be like a early 2025 release or a late 2025 release. So it's one of these situations where we have to maybe be a little bit careful how excited we get, because it does seem like there is every chance it could end up slipping into 2026. But at the very least, it is nice that we are getting a release year finally. A lot of people were under the impression that the game was going to release sometime this year, but we didn't really hear anything. So this seems to be an indication that they are potentially going to ramp up marketing going into 2025, and that the game is closing in on, going gold. So there you go. Wanted to mention that to you guys. But we are going to move on to the next topic here, which is a situation unfolding with Naughty Dog's Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet. This is being reported by Push Square. They say, whatever your opinion on Naughty Dog's recently announced sci-fi adventure, Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet, it's received an overwhelmingly negative reaction from certain online circles. So strong has the wave of negativity been that these people are now spinning up their own rumors about the game and its story and sharing them around as though they are fact. Originating on 4chan of all places, a purported story synopsis of the game is doing the rounds, but the alleged details of how this leaked is frankly ridiculous. Plot and gameplay details revealed below was sent to a handful of gaming journalists, the most notable of whom includes Jason Schreier, but they are debating whether or not to share it, it reads. The so-called leaker says the information stems from a disgruntled Naughty Dog employee who is displeased with Intergalactic's direction. My friend in an exclusive gaming journalist Discord server sent me the summary of the leak, the post continues. The synopsis itself is barely worth talking about as it's very clearly fake, but Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, who was name-dropped in the leak, has already debunked the whole thing, replying to a thread on X where an individual asks, "Hello, is it true? Plot and gameplay details revealed below was sent to a handful of gaming journalists, the most notable of whom includes Jason Schreier." And Jason Schreier simply replied, "No." So I thought this was worth mentioning just because, unfortunately, I have seen a couple of things pop up across the internet, across YouTube, where people are reporting on this and trying very desperately to convince, I believe, themselves as well as many others that this is legitimate, that this is true. It's pretty sad because people have now reached a point where they are willing to completely buy into a very clearly fake and made up 4chan post in order to fuel their own agenda, which is just, again, sad to see. And Jason Schreier has come out and completely debunked it, which that in and of itself goes to show how bad it's actually getting, where normally Jason Schreier would never interact with something like this, entertain it, or engage with it. But because there are enough people trying desperately to convince others that this is real, he had to come out and dispel it. So just wanted to clear that up. We are moving on to the next topic here, being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. They say it's increasingly looking like Sony is no longer vetting submissions for new PS Store games, as it's now allowing more shovelware than ever before. A week after we reported on a PlayStation Store entry for something called Grand Taking Ages 6 that somehow flew under Sony's radar, a new game has cropped up with a character that looks pretty much identical to The Last of Us's Joel. Spotted by a Reddit user, the screenshot is taken from the PlayStation Store page of Forest Ranger Life Simulator, which has simply been announced, like the fake GTA 6 game, and dozens of other new entries, majority of which look like they're just joke submissions. Sony removed Grand Taking Ages 6 PlayStation Store page as soon as it made headlines, but the point remains that these submissions continue to slip through whatever checks Sony has in place, if any at all. So I did see people talking about this, and I did want to highlight it as well, because Sony needs to get a better handle on this. It's just sad and a bad look to see that when you look at a picture like this, that's literally Joel from The Last of Us, Maybe the facial structure is slightly different, but I believe there's actually artwork, like official artwork, that was used here and just slightly modified, and Sony is just allowing it on their storefront. I don't see how a company like Sony, given how big they are and the resources they have, how they can't get a tighter hold on this. They absolutely can. They're just choosing not to. And unfortunately, we've reached a point where it requires headlines for games like Grand taking ages to start making the rounds before Sony actually is like, uh-oh, we should maybe do something about this. So here's yet another one. But we're going to move on to the final topic of the video, which is an update on a third-party game that will be making its way to PS5, but it's a game that's being directed by Amy Hennig, who is obviously known for Uncharted, that being Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra. We have new details being reported by VGC. It led us to do a bunch of interesting things, Amy Hennig told Entertainment Weekly, one of which was not only to tell a story with a young Steve Rogers who's still trying to find his feet, as opposed to the more seasoned guy that we've seen in a lot of films. It also lets us introduce a new Black Panther of 1943. The development team, Skydance Games, is being led by Amy Hennig, and the director, who was the director of the first 3 Uncharted games. It led us to tap into all the things that I love, all of the wonderful tropes of World War II era adventure films, classic men on a mission movies, and all of that, Hennig continued. There's a lot of intrigue in our story, a lot of twists and turns, fascinating characters, and interesting locations. Hennig also debuted new concept art from the game, which shows a glimpse at the jungles of Wakanda in Marvel 1943. Wakanda at this point in time is hidden away from the outside world and protected by this impenetrable jungle, she explains. They are non-interventionalists, but events transpire that pull them into the conflict. They have to protect their interests. The world is getting smaller. No satellites yet, but there will be soon. You can shoot down planes that maybe want to fly over Wakanda, but how long can you stay in the shadows? So, Amy Hennig teasing the story a little bit here, but again, Marvel 1943 is currently slated to release sometime in 2025. So we will continue to keep an eye on this. I know that a lot of people who are fans of Uncharted are definitely interested in Amy Hennig's next AAA project. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.